In the name of Almighty One God, who is most merciful and beneficent. Dear friends, I am Dr. Abdullah and I am certified, graduated from a big international Islamic university in Quran, Hadith, Scripture and Islamic laws. We were discussing about the Muslims' role in industrial growth. Today is the second lecture regarding this, and we will see what was the industrial contribution of Muslims in Persia, which is called Iran. Among Eastern Muslim countries, Persia was noted for its fabrics and carpets. Even up to the present day, Persia has maintained an extensive carpet industry, and Persian carpets are considered to be the best in the world. The Persians have proved themselves masters of decorative designs and color application since time immemorial. Their fine arts included potteries, tiles, and other decorative things reached a high degree of excellence. Hunting and garden scene were woven on Persian carpets and rugs. In India, let's see in India, during the reign of the great Muslim Mughals, emperors, and even afterwards, Muslims were the pioneers in cottage industries. Even today, almost all the cottage industries in the Indo-Pak subcontinent are in Muslims' hands. The Muslims in Dhaka, the woven rugs of Kashmir, the silken fabrics of Benares, the embroidery of Lucknow, and the silver work of Bedar, the potteries of Multan, the furniture of Bareilly, and the brassware of Muradabad are manufactured and maintained by Muslim craftsmen. Now let's see fine arts. In the ceramics, another art as ancient as Egypt and Susa, says Caston Migan. The reproduction of human form and of animals and plants, as well as the geometrical and epigraphic figures, attained a beauty of decorative style unsurpassed in any other Muslim's art. Beautiful Kashani tiles with flowers painted on them were especially of Persia, which were in great demand all over the world. Among the treasures of the Louvre, writes Phillips Keheti, the British Museum and the Arab Museum of Cairo are executed pieces from Samarra and Al Futat, including plates, cups, vases, evers, and lamps for home and mosques painted with brilliant radiant lusters and acquiring through the ages metallic glazes of changing rainbow hue. Decorative articles of luxury were produced on a large scale in Persia, Iraq, Spain, and Egypt, and they adored the places of the nobles and the rulers of the world. A goblet of the palaces of Fatimid was sold for 360 dinars. Decorative writings were painted on glasses which were hung in palaces and mosques. The jewelry industry also flourished during the time of the Abbasid. Harun Rashid had purchased a ruby for 40,000 dinars, and Yahya ibn Khalid once offered 700,000 dirhams for a jewel box. Persia and Spain were the great centers of fine arts industry. The Hispano-Morisco school excelled in metalwork. One of such relics of the time of Hisham II from 976 to 1009 AD is preserved on the high altar of the Cathedral of Jerma in the form of woven casket sheathed with the silver gilt patterned in the responsory with scrolls-like foliations. According to a European writer, in the application of coloring glazed to the earthenware, Muslims were from an early period past master. In Europe, Valencia was the center of ceramics and pottery industries. The potteries of Muslim Spain were later limited in the northern lands and Italy. Glazed and colored tiles were also produced in Spain and exported to European countries. Exotic pottery was made in Toledo, Cordoba, Malaga, and Valencia. Now we will discuss about textile. That what was about the textile in that period. Textile industries flourished in almost all the Muslim countries. The fine woolen, cotton, and silk fabrics, including rugs, tapestries, satin, brocade, sofa, and manufactured in Muslim countries were matchless and were exported to all parts of the civilized world. These fabrics were in the great demand in the imperial palaces of the East and the West. Persian carpets are still considered in the best in the world. Writing in Legacy of Islam, J.H. Kremers says, but as the time of Islam prosperity, it had been possible a development of industrial skill which brought the artistic value of the products to an unequal height. It is curious to note, too, that the state robes of medieval German emperors bore Arabic inscriptions during the Abbasid caliphs. Carpets and textiles manufactured in Iraq and Persia maintained a high standard of workmanship. A rug consisting 100,000 dirham set with jewels was made for the mother of Al-Mustasim. A fabric called tabi was introduced by the Arabs into Spain, which had a good market in Italy and other European countries. A number of factories were established in Tawaj, Fassa, and other cities of the Persia, where fine textile, brocades, carpets, and robes were manufactured. Tester and Susa, which are towns in Khuzestan, had factories for the embroidery of damask, a silken cloth originated in Damascus, which was used to make curtains. Among the specialities of Kazakhstan were woolen fabrics made of goat and camel hair and spun silk cloaks. Shiraz, the famous city of Persia, has known throughout the East for its woolen cloaks and brocades. Khorasan and Armenia manufactured tapestries, sofas, curtains, and cushions covers, while Bukhara was noted for its prayer rugs. Egypt also produced high-class fabrics including Dabiji and Tanisi, which had a high reputation in the world markets. Other industries. A large number of finished products and other articles were exported from Muslim countries. Even the small provisions of Trunaxia exported, among other things, soap, carpets, copper lamps, felt cloths, fur, amber, honey, scissors, swords, looms, tables, sofas, lamps, vases, earthenware, and kitchen utensils. The Syrian towns, especially Sidon and Tyre, were noted for their fine glasses and metal vessels, which were sought all over the world and were used as the articles of utility and luxury. Ibn Battuta found Damascus as the center of mosaic and khashani industry, which were used for decorative purposes in the construction of palatial buildings. The paper manufactured in Samarkand was considered to be the best in the world. The first paper factory in Baghdad was established by the end of the 8th century AD. Paper mills were founded in Egypt, Morocco, and Spain before the end of the 12th century AD. From Muslim Spain, says a European writer, from Muslim Spain, say the European writers, in the 12th and 13th centuries, the manufacture of paper finally worked its way into Christian Europe. The Abbasid Caliph Al-Mustasim Billah was a great patron of industries. The keen interest shown by him led to the rapid industrialization of Iraq and other countries. He opened big soap and glass factories in Baghdad, Samarra, and other towns. Now coming to the minings. Mines were worked in almost all the Muslim countries. The rich mines of Spain yielded iron, copper, lead, gold, silver, and rubies. Trans-Saxonian mines yielded marbles, mercury, rubies, asbestos, and azurite. Kerman had big lead and silver mines. Pearls were obtained from Bahrain, carnelian from Sana'a, turquoises from Nishapur, rubies from Badakhshan, iron from Mount Lebanon, Choline and marble from Tabriz. Syria and Palestine had large sulfur mines. Capable engineers and miners were employed in the iron mines of Khorasan in Persia and lead and silver mines of Karaman, also in Persia. Georgian mines yield bitumen and naphtha. Thus, the mineral resources of the Muslim countries were fully tapped and worked. The countries noted for their mining industry were Persia, Spain, Caucasia, Transsaxonia, and Palestine. Shipbuilding. We will discuss now. Next, shipbuilding. Arabs were the greatest sailors and miners of medieval times, carried on extensive seaborne trade between East and the West. To meet this increasing seaborne commerce, shipyards were built in all the important parts of Muslim countries, which were called Darul Sanai. The ports of Abala and Sirafin, the Persian Gulf, Tunis on the North African coast, Dania in Spain, Sousse in Morocco, Palermo and Messina in Muslim Sicily, Bari in Muslim Italy, and Acre in Syria had shipbuilding factories. Muslims in Italy and Acre in Syria had shipbuilding factories. During the Umayyad Caliph, such a factory was founded in Asbila in Syria, and during the reign of Abbasid, a big shipbuilding yard existing in Sus. The celebrated conqueror Salahuddin had established a large shipbuilding yard in Beirut to enable him to meet the challenges of the Crusades. Egypt had several shipbuilding yards. The first of this kind was established in 54 AH in Egypt. The Fatimid Caliphs had shipbuilding factories in Cairo, Alexandria, and Dayamita. The skill of Muslim craftsmen has now been acknowledged by liberal European writers. Writing in his well-known work, Intellectual Development of Europe, John William Draper says, the Muslims, Arabs have promoted many important branches of industries, improved and manufactured textile fabrics, earthenware, iron, steel. The Toledo sword blades were everywhere prized for their temper. The Muslim Arabs, on their expulsion from Spain, carried the manufacture of a kind of leather in which they were acknowledged to excel, to Morocco, from which country the leather itself has now taken its name. They also introduced inventions of a more omnious kind, gunpowder, and artillery. The cannon they used appeared to have been made of wrought iron, but perhaps they more than compensated for these evil contrivances by the introduction of mariner's compass. R. Briffault says, by Ent and by the manufacturers of the East were introduced and imitated in the Christian Europe. Silk loom were established in Norman Sicily. Venice copied with the aid of native craftsmen the glassware of Antioch, Lyons, and the Damascus, Paris, and the Taples, Renaissance in the linen of Syria. The rich dyes of the East were brought to Bourges, where they were used to prepare English wool for the market. The wares of Spain and Majorica led to the establishment of Italian factories for the manufacturers of Majolica. Sugar factories were transferred from Sicily to Italy and from the Spain to South France. So my friend, this was the second lecture of contribution of Muslims in industrial development. Please keep on watching my channel, Dr. Abu Abdullah.